Hello, this is Mad Cat, the angry egalitarian that discusses this and that. Today is another edition of Mad Cat Smash. Ah! Special episode today of International Men's Day. With special guest who I will get to in just a moment. And remember, feminists, there's such a thing called the Streisand effect. If you keep talking about Men's International Day, shit.
Today is another edition of
God, my voice sounds sexy. Anyways, feminists, Streisand effect. If you keep bitching about the International Men's Day, people are going to know about the International Men's Day. So, before we get started with the show today, I'm going to do my shilling up at front. I know I usually say this till the very end of the video, but I have a feeling we're going to kind of run to the last minute with this video today, so I want to take care of this now. No, I doing a special favor for Mercedes. She has the Veterans Charity to someone to accompany her to the AVN Awards. If you're a veteran or you know a veteran who would be interested in doing this, I mean, personally, I would love to do this. But I'm not exactly a veteran, so I think that disqualifies me. But you know, she's a great woman. You know, she's someone I consider to be a good friend. And my guest definitely considers her to be a friend. So definitely put the word out for this. If you're interested or you know someone who might be, let them know. You can go to mercedescarrera.net and, you know, just fill out the form down below. Now, there's also my shilling. Ooh, I got 4 patrons. So I do a patron for my video series. This is mostly for my medical costs. You know, I don't have insurance and I'm trying to get an experimental procedure that might actually help me. Now, I have post-concussion syndrome, which is a mental disorder. And, you know, mental health is definitely something that is underrepresented in men's health and definitely for something for International Men's Day. My condition is 1 part physical, 1 part mental, and 1 part cognitive. And, you know, I'm really getting to a point right now with my family where they're kind of like wanting me to do something now or get out. And I fear there may come a day where, well, let's hope it doesn't come to that. But if you like what I'm doing, if you want to help support me, this is primarily going to medical costs, consider doing this. However, if you're not interested in doing Patreon, which I can perfectly understand, consider buying my book. Now, I recently released this. I actually re-released this to make it more streamlined for everyone out there. But there's a link down below for my free ebook. Check that out. If you like it, consider buying the actual book. It's only $3. If you like the story or if you just want to support me, that's another way you can do it. Just follow the link down below and either click on my name or click on the series and you will see the book that's for sale. Just go ahead and buy that if you would like to help me with my medical costs. So, International Men's Day. Now, before we get started with this, let me introduce my guest today. She is known as Liberal Lunacy. She is a great personal friend of mine, and it is an extreme privilege to have her on my show today. So, would you care to tell us a couple of things about yourself, Shannon?
Yeah, you definitely need to check that privilege, Mad Cat. Hi, everybody. I'm Shannon, aka Liberal Lunacy. I have a channel here on YouTube, youtube.com/Liberal Lunacy, where I generally get pissed off about stuff and do social commentary. and usually I'm on for being a bitch generally, and I sell t-shirts, so that's cool. Mad Cat, if you want to put up my link, I put it in the thing if you want to show them real quick. If not, it's okay. But yeah, so that's what I do, and I'm happy to be here to talk about International Men's Day, which is very, very important. So, yay. Throwing it back to you.
Sorry, some loon wanted me to load up her website. There we go. We got some wonderful t-shirts. Actually, that doesn't look like a t-shirt, but, you know, those do. All right, so let me go ahead and put this back on Mercedes. And all right, so we're going to go ahead and get started today. Now, we're doing the International Men's Day. And the theme to this year's International Men's Day is working to expand reproductive options for men. So today we'll be primarily talking about reproductive rights. But before I get into that, I'm going to kind of do a year in review. Now, anyone who's watching, if you want to make a comment in chat, go ahead and do so. I will try to read your comment today if I can. I'm pretty good at doing that, but if there's a lot of people talking at once, I'm actually very bad at it. So
I'll be watching the chat on my phone as well. So.
All right. So, and if you see anything, Shannon, just kind of let me know or just blurt it out. So let's go ahead and start a year in review. And this time last year, November 19th, 2014, the Rolling Stones published the UVA rape case, which has since become infamous, especially since the UVA sorority and the dean is now suing the Rolling Stone for $25 million, turning out that it was actually a false rape claim. Moving on from that, January of 2015, we had a study revealed that 1 in 3 men will rape if given the opportunity. Of course, this was a very bad study done. It was a very small sample size, and it was for college credit. And it was rather vague in some of the questions, and it only asked men and didn't compare to women or any other crime. April 17th, the Honey Badger Brigade was evicted from the Calgary Expo for asking a question during a panel. Now, there's a lot of debate on why they actually got expelled, but they definitely did get evicted from the event. Moving on to April 25th, Bahara Mustafa denied whites and men from attending a meeting. She later, which I didn't list in this, but she later had to appear in court for making threats over Twitter, which I had very mixed feelings about that. On May 4th, Dan Parents began a 75-mile walk from one city to the next to deliver a request to his local government and also instituted a hunger strike. May 28th, 2 men were arrested in New York late at night on a subway for spreading their legs while sitting. June 11th, Timothy Hunt, Nobel Prize winner, loses job after a sexist joke. June 21st, Angelsoft has a commercial to remember mothers on Father's Day. August 22nd, the Hugo Awards has a record no awards listing for the first place prize.
Hey, Mad Cat.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm looking at the YouTube feed, and it's just me.
Yes.
So I didn't know
Yes.
if you wanted that.
Yeah, I knew that.
Okay.
Because I'm actually reading off of a paper right now. I don't have anything on the website right now. So people are
Okay.
just staring at your tits.
Oh, okay.
So Hugo Awards, that's not exactly a men's rights issue, but considering a lot of the people that were ended up selected for winners tend to be allied to social justice warriors and feminists, and women were often selected over men. So that was actually a very important issue for men's rights. September 25th, Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn went to the UN to argue for restrictions on free speech on the internet because of harassment. I put that in quotes. October 29th, Jess Phillips laughs at doing a debate for the International Men's Day. And then November 11th, Cassie J gets $210,000 for the Red Pill documentary. Now, of course, there was a lot more news that happened in the past year. These were some of the major events that I pulled out. Do you have any comments about anything that I listed, Shannon?
Well, there was a lot that you listed there. Let me pull up my version of the list that you sent me, so I can kind of go over it bullet point, you know. Let's see. I'm glad you sent me that, by the way. So now I have it. Okay. So the UVA rape case, we all know at this point, is complete and utter, you know, bullshit. You know, it was a false rape claim of a woman just trying to get attention, and yeah, so we all know that. But the fact of the matter is, you know, it got so much attention and press, and people just outright believed this crap. You know, that shows that there's a huge problem, you know. The Bahar Mustafa thing, where she denied whites and men from the conference she was doing. I the only thing I could akin it to, well, I mean, there are lots of instances of racism through history and everything like that, obviously, but I made a lot of people mad when I put up a picture of back in World War II. You know, it's this famous picture. It's this woman standing on her porch, and she's pointing up to a sign, and it says no Japs in this neighborhood, or something like that. White only neighborhood, no Japs, or something like that. And I put that next to the sign that Bahar Mustafa put up and said, you know, which one of these is racist? If you only said, you know, that one with the no Japs, then you may be a racist, social justice warrior, because they're both racist. And, you know, I know we're not going over racism today, but I just wanted to point that out. But yeah, I really don't have much to say on everything else. There's just a lot to cover in a short amount of time, so I'll kind of let you take lead.
Yeah, usually she's the top in this relationship, but I guess today I get to be.
Well, don't tell them that. Jesus. Damn it, Mad Cat.
I tell people everything. By the way, I've seen her tits, and all I can really say is I actually haven't seen her tits.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have not.
Don't tell them that.
I mean, yeah, you totally send them around everywhere. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I hear they're nice, but of course she told me they're nice, so I think she's a bit biased.
Well, you could ask my friend Asher's. She's seen them. So there you go. All right,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
gonna mute. You
I'll be in
go.
my
You
bunk.
go. You go. You lead this discussion.
All right, so reproductive rights. Now, I've actually got a lot listed for this. We're not going to be able to make it through all of this. So let me just go and read this introduction, and then I'm going to play a little game with all of you today. When it comes to reproductive rights, feminists would convince us that women have less reproduction rights than men. To even suggest that men have little is laughable. If they do acknowledge a disparity, they will insinuate that it is only a minority that experience problems. The primary issue of reproductive rights is that women are the ones that must go through a physical change in order to carry a child. As many pro-choicers will say, her body, her choice. But it's more than that. It's also seen that whenever the mother chooses for a child is seen as the best option, no matter what the facts say. Because of this, women have been able to abuse their privilege as women and mothers against men for a variety of reasons. Feminists argue that a man can leave at any time and not support a child, and that a woman does not have this option. They are forced to be responsible for the child. But is this actually true, or is this a misrepresentation of facts? So I'm going to propose something to you, Shannon, and then I want you to respond when I'm done. Okay. So here's the situation. A man and a woman have sex and the woman gets pregnant. Now, what are her options? Well, option one is she doesn't want the child, but the man does. She then opts to get an abortion. His wanting the child makes no difference whatsoever. She can get an abortion. That's it. Option two is that she doesn't want the child, but she doesn't want to get an abortion, maybe for religious reasons. So she decides to put it up for adoption. There's nothing a man can do. She can put it up for adoption, and there's really not a whole lot he can do to stop it. Now, it does depend on the state, but for the most part, there's nothing she can do, or he can do. Now, another scenario is that she wants the child, but he doesn't. Well, she can carry it to term, and he can go away as a feminist state. But if for any reason she ever wants to file for any sort of financial support, whether on the state level or the federal level, they will go after him. And, you know, if it's within the first year, okay, maybe not such a big deal, but it can go on maybe 10 years later. He will owe for all of those 10 years. Worse yet, if she never told him about the child, he still is responsible for all of that time he missed plus interest. Now, say that she wants a child, he wants a child, but she does not want him a part of the child's life. She can carry it to term. She can even get a restraining order against him to keep him away. He is still financially responsible.
All right, I want to stop you there because I want to address the elephant in the room, as it were, on my end. I actually had to do that, get a restraining order against my ex. He is the biological father of my son. And when I went to see, the state forced the issue on oh my God, what's it called? Child support. Because I went to get aid for, you know, food stamps and stuff like that, because I was in a really, really, really tough spot. And they would not allow me to get any sort of aid unless I had applied also for child support from my ex. And mind you, I'm not, you know, I'm not saying that, you know, everyone who goes out and gets a restraining order against someone is in the right. I'm not. You know, I know that restraining orders have been used as weapons a lot in the past. But, you know, the fact that there's a stigma, I guess, in the men's rights, you know, area, you know, of you know, people and everything. That anyone who gets child support or has gotten a restraining order against a man, you know, is just an evil, you know, feminist who's using the system to keep a man away from his children for no good reason. And a lot of the time that's true. I will admit that, you know, but I mean, this guy was absolutely dangerous. He beat the crap out of me. He left marks on my son because I dared to go take a shower and my son started crying. He was a few months old and I came out because my son was screaming and he had marks like this on his face, you know, bruises right here from where my ex had grabbed his face to try to get him to stop. So, you know, there are just causes for getting restraining orders and stuff like that. And I didn't want to get child support from him, but the state forced me. And that's a flaw in the law in this state, you know, that even a woman who doesn't want to get it can be pushed and forced, you know. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Well, I was actually done with that whole scenario thing, and I wanted to get your opinion on the rest of it. You know, what do you think about, I mean, especially with you being a woman and having gone through pregnancy and all of that, what do you think about when you hear these sort of things that no matter, it's like Warren Farrell says, you know, all the choices that women have, the choices that men have are three things: be financially responsible, be financially responsible, and be financially responsible. And in the end, that's really all the options that men have. What do you think about all of that?
No, I definitely agree with that. And, you know, I think that, you know, both parents, okay, I'm a pro-life person, which, yeah, I know, give me shit, everybody. But, so, you know, that's just my opinion on it, you know. But as far as opting out of parenthood, which can be done with adoption, if the woman has the right to opt out of parenthood by giving away the child or not giving birth to it or whatever, what have you, I think the father should be able to have the right to opt out of parenthood if he wants. It's, you know, a turnabout is fair play, you know, and, you know, it does really piss me off that, you know, people can just get rid of a child and, you know, give it up or whatever without any say-so from, you know, the biological father. And that there is a gray area there, like if the father has signed the birth certificate, then he has somewhat of a fight, you know, he has some rights. So there's that. But and also if they're married, then the woman can't just give it up for adoption, but she can still just abort it. So it really sucks on the man side of things. And I'm saying that as a woman who, you know, has been pregnant and scared and not known what to do and, you know, weighed the options. And, you know, I think men should have a right to have a, you know, a say in that conversation, you know, because the thing is, you know, yeah, my body, my choice, whatever, you know, yeah, you can choose not to be a mother, but you chose to lay down with this man. You chose to take the risk of getting pregnant, and he took the risk too. So he should have equal say in the outcome of the consequence.
So, part of my discussion today, I'm going to read a couple of examples of the things that we see for these things. So with the whole she gets pregnant and all of that, this one was rather sad, but well, let me just go ahead and read it. Christopher Emmanuel got his girlfriend pregnant. Now, despite wanting to care for the child, she was pressured by her parents, to give it up for adoption. She emailed a couple to take her baby, saying that the father was not involved. She didn't tell Christopher that when she was in labor, and he found out days later because he filled out a responsible father's registry, which is a putative father registry, which is held in like 33 states. This is not something everywhere. Which basically told him when his baby was going to be given up for adoption. Now, this is an option that men have, but it's not something that all men know about. Very rarely is this ever done. But basically, if a woman gives a child up for adoption, basically someone comes to his house and gives him a letter saying your child's being given up for adoption. Not that you really have any more rights beyond that.
Can I say something about that, actually?
Sure.
Okay. There's also something called adoption by publication, where if they can't find the father, like say he has, signed the birth certificate, so he has a legal right, if say, someone like another man, like a stepfather, is going to adopt the child or children, and they cannot find the biological father, there is something called adoption by publication, where they put it in various newspapers throughout the state saying, hey, blanky blank, your children are being adopted by blanky blank. You have to respond in blobbity blue amount of time, or, you forfeit, pretty much.
I'm willing to bet that that's a state-by-state sort of thing, that probably not all states
Oh,
do
yeah,
that.
definitely. I just wanted to, say that it's a thing,
Okay, so he did this registry because he feared, despite her promising not to, that she would give the baby up for adoption. So good on him for doing that. Now, Christopher fought to get his child back, but as the lawyer for the family that adopted the baby, on why a father doesn't need to be made known about this, he states just because the birth father is a sperm donor and has a biological link does not, under the law, establish his parental rights. Furthermore, he states about father's rights can start to evaporate before birth in South Carolina, which is where this was, if he does not take certain actions such as support the birth mom or live with her for 6 months prior to the birth, or hold himself out as the birth father. In those cases, a judge can hold that he abandoned his parental rights during the limited window of time he has to assert those rights. Now, in this situation, basically, it was because he was black, she was white, parents were racist, and really didn't want them to be together, so they kept them apart. And while he did pay for some of her medical costs, they tried to pass it off that he didn't. Let me go ahead and read this last paragraph here. His girlfriend pushed him away and prevented him from having access to her, likely coerced by the parents so they could force her to give the baby away for adoption. Eventually, Chris won and got his daughter back. In 2015, the mother tried to get custody back, but later dropped her claim and signed away the rights to her child. So even though she was able to sign away the rights, this is not something men have the option for. Had she kept the child, he would have still been financially responsible. Any thoughts to this, Shannon?
Yeah, it's difficult because if a father has been established, then it's, by law, that's the father, and so, yeah, it's kind of a bitch, but it's, I guess the way, a way you could look at it, is, I don't know, I'm tripping all over myself, honestly, because it's a bullshit situation. It's a hard situation. And, if a woman can walk away and abandon, then a man should be able to do the same, but I don't think any parent should walk away and abandon a child,
Yeah.
but that's just how I feel about it.
And Christopher in this situation wanted the child. He
Oh
wanted
no, I'm just saying in general.
And I know, and I'm referencing this, and he said to her, if you give this up for adoption, will you give the child to me? And she's like, oh, yes, I will, and still went behind his back and did this.
Right.
Now, you could say, well, the parent coerced her, and that's probably still true, but it's a fucked up situation nonetheless.
Right.
Comment from the chat before I move on to the next subject. Tresido, I guess that's how you say it. Mine, among other things, never paid a cent of child support, stole money from me as a small child. I might hurt him today. I have helped out friends with the reverse too. Some mothers are not responsible either. So, yeah, men and women can be very fucked up. It's not a gendered issue. So let's go ahead and move on to the next subject. There's a lot of different men's reproductive rights to go over, but the next one I want to cover is sperm liability. And most feminists I've talked to about this laugh at this concept, but it is something that happens all too often. This is a serious issue that's often overlooked. Women have the option of birth control and other prophylactics. Men only have the choice of a condom. You would think that if a man used a condom, he's made the conscious effort not to impregnate a woman, and the law would recognize that. The problem here is that once a child is born, the facts go out the window. A child is seen as needing to be raised by their mother, and the father being financially responsible no matter what. So a couple of cases that I found. In 2007, Anitria and Joe broke up. Anitria then took a used condom, took it to a fraternity clinic, and got herself pregnant. 3 months later, she revealed she got pregnant, and a paternity test showed that it was his. 7 years later, he found a receipt for the fraternity clinic where the truth was discovered. They have now broken up, but Anitria has sued Joe for child support. The court sided with the mother. And there's a couple of these that I have, Shannon, but if you want to jump in and talk about in any of these cases, let me know.
I think that's evil bullshit, honestly. The best advice I can give on that is dudes, take your condoms with you and throw them away off site.
Well, and this next one kind of like dispels that one, that piece of advice. That's still very good advice. If you're going to go have sex with a girl, bring a condom and a plastic baggie with you. And when you're done, go into the bathroom, rip it off. Do not flush it, because I've heard of some cases where women...
It backs up it backs up the toilet and destroys the plumbing. So
good to know.
That's like flushing an entire rubber glove, if you think about it. It's just gonna sit.
No glove, no love. But
right?
Put the condom into the plastic baggie and keep it on you. Don't let her know that you're doing this, because she might try to guilt you in some way, and the law would be on her side, unfortunately. But the next case, in 1999, Dr. Sharon Irons gave oral sex to Dr. Richard Phillips, which she then used to conceive a child. When Phillips found out, he attempted to sue her for theft and emotional distress. The court cited that his sperm was a gift to her, and thus she could use it however she wanted. He was then ordered to pay child support.
Ew. Ew. Like what? All I can think like. Wouldn't the like saliva, like degrade the, sperm? And I mean, granted, most of them would probably survive, but still, ew. That's fucking nasty.
Yeah.
And that's just heinous and evil. Good Lord. Make sure she swallows.
Or just
Just
don't
make sure.
know.
Yeah.
Okay, and here's one that's probably really going to trigger warning everyone, because this one's pretty bad. 1987, 16-year-old Colleen Hermesman had sex with Shane Sayer, age 12. She became pregnant. Due to loopholes in the law, she was not charged for statutory rape.
Oh, Jesus.
She, however, sued Sayer for child support and won. Higher court in 1997 later overturned, since he was under the age of 15, he couldn't have consented. Now, this is basically statutory rape, and I'm not going to get into rape into too much detail with this. There is some crossover with this, though, but I do consider this a sperm liability issue because it was forcibly taken from him, and I don't think a 12-year-old child can give consent.
No, not at all. That it's a child, So no. I'm sorry. No, I couldn't. When I was 12 years old, I couldn't consent to what I wanted for dinner that night, let alone life-changing, complete, your life is over decisions, so no.
Logically sound says, referring to the one about the gift, that's a gift that has no receipt. Well, technically, I guess the child would be the receipt, right? So moving on to the next one. This is about financial abortion, which we've talked about a little bit. Tricidio has a comment. I'll read that real quick. I'm going to guess that this was about the little boy's wet dream scenario, and the child is being blamed for it. Again, wow. Yeah. Yeah, that's the funny thing that feminists say is that, girls mature faster than boys, but then when it comes to sex, boys can still rape women like 3 times older than them, but girls are always the victim, and yet girls are still superior to boys. And it's just like they really I can't think of the term, but they really jump around with all of this. But let's go ahead and talk about financial abortion just real quick. Now, we talked about this a little bit, that a man should have the right to legally step away from a situation if he does not want to be the parent. And this was actually a recent news article. Kansas man donated sperm through an ad on Craigslist to a lesbian couple. Said couple then broke up at a later time, and the mother filed for financial assistance, and the government required the man to pay child support, even though all parties signed a contract that he would not be financially responsible or a part of the child's life.
That's pretty much what happened to me. The government pushed it. So, it depends. Did the mother apply for assistance, as in like food stamps, cash assistance, medical care, something like that, or did she apply for child support itself?
She didn't file for child support. She was applying for some sort of nutrition assistance.
Okay.
Like that.
Okay, so it was either probably WIC or food stamps, and that's exactly what happened to me. you know, I didn't want it. All I wanted was just a little, you know, bit of help on my own end, you know, because I was a little bit, you know, behind in what I was, you know, able to do. And they forced me, you know.
Yeah.
I was not allowed to have any kind of help until I went after my ex for child support. And I don't freaking want it. I don't want it. Like, I'd rather him just go away, you know? But, oh well.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate part, is that the state really works against men in that one. I mean, there's the case in Arizona, and this has happened a few other times, where basically a woman had sex with a boy when he was 13 years old. And she was charged for statutory rape because she was in her 20s. But she served no jail time whatsoever, had a child, and didn't tell him about the child until like about 10 or so years later, when she tried to file for nutrition assistance, and DES, which is what we have out here, Department of Economic Security, stated that he owed for child support for all of those years. And I think it was like 10 years of child support he owed plus interest, even though it was statutory rape.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
So the criminal justice system and the child custody system are two completely separate systems, and
Oh, yeah.
one does not affect the other.
No, not at all.
So,
because I've dealt with both, you know.
So I want to read a couple of things about child custody. We've already gone through Christopher Emanuel's, but here's some statistics about fatherless homes, which is appropriate because oftentimes fathers want to be a part of a child's life and are just not able to. So these are some stats for what happens in a fatherless home. 63% youths that commit suicide, fatherless homes. 90% of homeless and runaway children are from. 85% of all children who show behavior disorders. 80% of rapists with anger problems. 71% of high school dropouts. 75% of adolescent patients in chemical abuse centers. 70% of youth in state-operated institutions, and 85% of all youth in prisons. All of these come from fatherless homes. And yet, what pisses me off is that feminists will be like, or there are women out there, it's like, well, I don't need a man. I can raise a child by myself, and I can do this, and I can do that. And no. I mean, yeah, you can do it, but your child needs the balance of both parents.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do. You know, just for reference, my parents split up when I was 11. And I mean, my dad was still in my life, you know, up until the day he died. But, you know, he wasn't there every day because that's not how court works, you know? That's not how visitation works from the state. So I was at my dad's every other weekend. And so, yeah, he was still in my life, but, you know, it's interesting to see the decline, you know, between me and my sisters, because my oldest sister is 8 years older than me, and she was already in college by the time my parents split up. And my other sister is 4 years older than me. She was in high school when my parents split up. And then I was, you know, in 6th grade. And so, you know, my oldest sister went on, got her master's and did a bunch of amazing stuff, right? My middle sister went on to college and ended up being a full-time nanny. And, you know, like she's, you know, a very, very well-paid nanny in the area where she lives. And then there's me, the high school dropout, and who's never gone on to really do anything except, yell about shit on YouTube. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm very happy with where I am. And, I know I'm very intelligent. I'm well educated. I'm an autodidact. I educate myself very, very well on a lot of different subjects. I know things about neuropharmacology. I know things about political science. I know things about history. I'm all over the map. But I can't help but wonder what it would have been like if it hadn't just been me and my mom, and if my dad had still been there, would I have turned out differently? Would I have gone to college and, gotten a master's degree in something and, be totally awesome, successful today? But I am also a believer in, things happen the way they're supposed to. And, butterfly effect and all that, if all that had happened, would I be where I am? Would I be married to the man I am? Would I have the child I have? Probably not. So, I've learned to be happy with how things have turned out because I'm happy with what I have now, and I wouldn't change that. So
I want to read a comment from chat by Warped Reflection. Good to see you again. I'm a single parent. I gave the kid's dad unlimited access, and he chose to walk away from his sons because he's a selfish dick. And yeah, there certainly are men that they're just in it for the sex. They don't really want, the children, and things get too complicated. They walk away. That definitely happens, and there's no denying that. But I also, and not to take away with what happened to you, Warped Reflection, but, the opposite is also true, that women can walk away. There's a movie called...
I had to. I'm sorry.
I know you did. I wouldn't respect you in the morning if you didn't.
You never respect me in the morning.
Well, you never do what I want at nighttime. But there's a great movie. It's a little bit old, so hopefully the newer generation's seen it. But it's called Kramer versus Kramer. Have you seen it, Shannon?
I have not.
Oh, it's a good movie. It's Dustin Hoffman and Meryl Streep. And it's basically Meryl Streep decides to leave. She just has like some sort of life crisis, doesn't want to be a mother anymore, doesn't want to be a wife, and she abandons the family, and Dustin Hoffman has to raise the son by himself. It's a little bit of an adjustment. The movie was made in the 70s, so it's a little bit stereotypical, like he's the successful father, worked in a big firm, and now he has to adjust his life. But within the movie, the mother ends up coming back, and she wants full custody of the son, even though she abandoned the child. And spoiler alert, she ends up getting custody. But, again, not to take away from you, Warped Reflection, but it does happen with women that they will just up and leave. And the difference between men and women in this scenario is that women tend not to be required to pay child support, but men always are.
But there are exceptions.
Yes.
Like my mom had to pay child support to my dad for my sister because she was the top earner out of the two. So that's how it's divvied up in the state of Ohio, at least for the most part, is whichever one makes more money, they're the one that pays. And the one who has custody most of the time, but my parents did shared parenting. It's weird. Anyway.
So we're coming close to our hour time mark. I've got one more story, and I'm glad I overachieved on this because we've actually gone through every one of these things here. So we're on the last one for this one. If anyone in chat has anything they want to say for International Men's Day, I know we've been focusing on reproductive rights because that is the theme to this year. And certainly next year we'll be doing a different theme to that one. But if there's anything you want to say for International Men's Day, put it into the chat, and me or Shannon will read it before the end of this video. But let's go ahead and talk about the last one, which is birth control fraud. Matt Dubay dated a woman, and he told her he didn't want to have a child. She stated she was infertile and on contraceptives just to be on the safe side.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah. They later...
I have a story about this, by the way.
Well, I look forward to hearing it.
Yeah.
They later broke up, but soon afterwards, she informed him she was pregnant. He told her before, during, and after he was not interested in being the father. Dubay tried to release himself from financial responsibility of the child he didn't want. His lawyers argued that Michigan State doesn't require women to pay child support for a child they don't want, but men were required, as well as the National Organization for Women and the Association for Children for Enforcement of Support, was that the need of the child for support from both parents outweighs any of the circumstances regarding the birth. So in this situation, no matter what led to the birth of the child, whether it was legal or illegal, doesn't matter. It's what's for the benefit of the child. Let me read this last paragraph here. District Court dismissed the case, but the National Center for Men appealed the case with the United States Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit. They upheld the district court's decision, citing that Dubay's claim that a man's right to disclaim fatherhood would be analogous to a woman's right to abortion rests upon a false analogy. In the case of a father seeking to opt out of fatherhood and thereby avoid child support obligation, the child is already in existence, and the state therefore has an important interest in providing for his or her support. So a woman can opt out of abortion because the child's not born yet, but a father cannot opt out of his duty to the child because the child already is born. Dubay declined to go to the Supreme Court with this decision. And I guess I don't blame him, considering that, you know, it's pretty much like, you're the father, you have to be financially responsible. It doesn't matter what the circumstances are. He didn't want a child, and yet he still has to be financially responsible for it. She lied about being on birth control. She lied about her infertility. If a man did this to a woman, if he lied about being infertile or poked holes in his condoms. In fact, I read a Canadian story where a man was charged for sexual assault for poking holes into his condom to try to get a woman pregnant.
Well, not only that, but think about this, you know, you can be charged with attempted, I'm not sure, I think manslaughter, if you are HIV positive and do not disclose that and knowingly have it and have sex with people and know that you are spreading that around. You know, it's the same kind of thing. It's not, I'm hearing my echo.
Okay.
It's not disclosing your sexual health, your sexual, you know, history, your you know, the truth about you, pretty much. And so, do you want me to go into the story I have about this?
Yes, please.
Okay. So one of my best friends in the world, he got together with this chick who everyone saw that coming, that she was bad news. She is, have you ever seen the you know, fuck hate, you know, the potty mouth princesses? You've seen that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You know that big fat redheaded one at the end, and she's like, maybe society should clean up its act. That one?
Yeah.
That is exactly this chick. Big fat redhead, angry social justice feminist. And I couldn't stand her. Everyone hated her, but you know, her and I butted heads constantly. And so at the time, this guy was my roommate. We were all friends and everything. And so of course, you know, she'd bring her her already kid around because she already had a kid. And you know, hang out at our house and be there all the time and everything. And so one day I was in my kitchen doing my dishes, which you know, I was sitting on my counter because that's how I do dishes. And so I was sitting on the counter doing dishes, and it was, you know, maybe 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. And she walks into the kitchen to get a drink of water or whatever. And she pulls out her purse, and she's looking through it, and she goes, "Oh shit." I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "Oh, I forgot my birth control." I was like, "Why don't you go home and get it?" And she's like, "Oh no, it's no big deal. It's fine." And I'm like, no, that's not fine. No. And so I tried to tell my friend about it, and he's like, no, you know, it's okay. You know, she took it, da 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 da. 2 weeks later, guess who's pregnant? And she's done this before. She goes after guys. She gets pregnant on purpose to milk them for child support. He had to fight like hell to, which as soon as she was about to give birth, he contacted child support and said, "I'm about to be a father. What do I do? Here, you know, please, I want to be, you know, he wanted to be upfront and do what was right and do what he was supposed to do by law." And he had to fight to get, you know, appropriate visitation. He had to fight so hard to, you know, he was paying like, you know, at least 40% of what he was making, you know, to her for child support. And, you know, it's just now started to go down because he's paid all the arrearages because they didn't start taking it at first. But, you know, it's gotten really bad for him. But, I mean, it's getting better. He, you know, he's a great dad. He loves his kid, and he would do anything and everything for that child. But, you know, he doesn't get to see him as much as he wants. And, you know, every time he goes to drop his child off, you know, the child cries and holds on to him and doesn't want to go back to the mother because she's just a terrible person that yells at him all the time. And, you know, it's a rough, very, very difficult situation, and it's hard to watch. So, but yeah, I've seen it, you know, I've seen it with my own eyes.
So there's a comment in chat that I'm going to read that's actually going to inspire the very last thing I'm going to talk about before we close up today. So basically, Tricado had a girlfriend with tubes tied once. However, that was nice. And Warped Reflection states that I've known loads of pregs after having their tubes done. And, you know, one of the things I was thinking about today, and I ended up researching this, is, you know, probably what should happen is that women... Can you go ahead and mute, Shannon?
Mm-hmm. Sorry about that.
Not a problem. So I was thinking what men should do, like when they turn 18 years old, is go in and get a vasectomy. You know, maybe get a couple of vials of their semen in the freezer in case they do want to impregnate a woman. However, that's actually quite difficult to do. Many clinics won't do that. Now, there are some out there that will, but their thought process is that we're not going to do this procedure because you may want to reverse it later, and it's expensive to do. And everyone at a young age wants to do this. if you try to get it done, it's going to be very tough to do. But honestly, I think that's what should happen. With the way women are these days, I mean, there are some good ones out there. We're looking at one now, but they are few and far between. So, and the doctors are like, well, you have to be 40 before you can get a vasectomy.
Oh, that's bullshit. No, you don't.
Well, a lot of them won't do it.
A lot of them won't, but you can find them. Like one of my best friends who used to run my political page with me is a year older than me, and I'm pretty sure he got a vasectomy at 24. So, you know, you can find doctors that'll do it. It's just harder.
Yeah.
But you also find doctors, like gynecologists, that are very, very reluctant to do a tube ligation on a woman before a certain age as well. You know?
Yeah.
It's really because they know a lot of people will make rash decisions as, you know, young people, and then, you know, want to go back and fix it. A great alternative for the women is a Mirena, an IUD, because you get 5 years of that, and you know it's very, very, very effective. So, and then you can get it out anytime if you want to start trying to have kids.
So a couple of comments in chats. Vicky Carmel says, can't get a vasectomy under 30 years unless you already have 2 kids.
That depends on the doctor.
Yeah, it does really depend on the doctor. It depends on the state you're in. It depends on a lot of factors of what they're going to do. And there are some ones out there you can. But let's go ahead and wrap up today. If any of you have any final comments you want to say for International Men's Day, go ahead and put it in chat, and I will try to read them real quick. But
oh, can I chill while people are typing?
Okay, go ahead and show real quick.
Okay, I don't know if you saw it at the beginning, but Mad Cat threw up my cat. He threw my, yeah, stop it. God damn it. I ran through so many hairballs with my wheelchair. It's awful. You know, we need to put you on hairball food. But I have shirts, and it's pretty much the only way I'm ever going to make money doing this. So if you would like to, please go check them out. You know, at least take a look at them. You don't have to buy one, but go and take a look, see what you think. I make, you know, a small amount off of each of them, and I don't think it's on screen, Mad Cat.
What's up?
I don't think it's on screen.
I think it is.
It is.
There's a delay.
Well, I know, but the delay is usually not that long. But yeah, no.
Bow wow.
But if you want, take a look. I'm going to be working on more designs at some point soon. And, you know, I'm taking suggestions and stuff like that, but you can get them in a bunch of colors and all of that. So if you want to go check them out, they are at shop.spreadshirt.com/liberallunacy. So there you go.
And while we're shilling real quick before I do my closing statement, of course, we've got Mercedes Carrera. Anyways, Mercedes Carrera, veterans. If you know a veteran, if you are a veteran, want to win a date with this lovely woman.
Dude, I would go enlist to get a date with Mercedes. Shit.
I'd go to hell and back just to have a date with you and Mercedes together. Sorry, that's a part of my fanfic.
I'm waiting for the you know, the slash fiction and, you know, the fan art and stuff.
Also, there is my Patreon account. I know I said I wouldn't do this at the end, but you know, I need help medically. I'm disabled like Shannon, but in a different way. I can't work. I can do these videos, and I want to earn the money. So I do these videos. Donating to me doesn't mean that you'll get more videos, but I'm still going to do these videos no matter what. But if you want to help me out, please consider donating to my Patreon. Right now, I just need help with medical costs, try to get some medical insurance, try to do a procedure that's not covered by medical insurance that could actually help me. It's very experimental right now, but I've tried everything else. If you're not interested in using Patreon, consider buying my book. Link down below to the free ebook. Acts as a prologue to this book right here. Read it, like it, consider buying the book, or if you just want to support me, consider buying the other book. Click on the link below, click on my name, and you'll see the other book.
And I wanted to say also, if people buy the shirts and stuff, because you brought up the medical thing and I totally forgot. I'm having some issues. I need some more medical equipment that insurance does not cover, and I am not going to crowdfund again, like I did with the stair lift. And so if you want to buy a shirt and help a cripple get some stuff that she needs to basically function in day-to-day life, that'd be cool.
Yes, if you want to help a crippled function in her day-to-day life, consider donating to me.
Nice try.
Yeah. But yes, we're two crippled people who want to work hard for you. Consider helping us out.
Yes. So what do we got in the chat? Let me
go ahead and start doing my closing. International Men's Day, it's the one time of the year where feminists are just equally all angry at the same time. And it's a very important day. If you didn't catch the first part of my show, when we're done here, go ahead and check that out, because there is more than enough reasons why we need this day. I was saying to Mercedes today that, all of the things that men do in this world, society functions on the backs of men, and yet we're looked down a lot. So I don't think it should be an International Men's Day. It should be an International Men's Week.
Can you put me on screen?
Yeah, I can put you on the screen.
All right.
There you go.
I want to say something really quick because someone's saying hi to us.
Okay.
So let me know when I am.
So the thing is that men need this day.
Oh, yeah.
It sucks that we only get one day, but we need this day. And feminists are complaining, oh, well, maybe we should have a whites only day or an able body day. And I'm like, why not?
There's an International Women's Day too, though, right?
Yeah.
And they all like get their titties in a twist and they're all excited about it and all of that, Oh, okay. Hi, Owen. Anti-femfrec. He's saying hi.
I believe this is the first time he's been in one of my chats, which I'm very honored by. I had him on the show last week, which was a great
I saw
show.
that. I saw that.
So it's good to see you, Anti-Feminist Frequency, again. But let me finish up. Damn you, woman. You said you only wanted an hour, and I'm trying to give it to you. So anyways, yeah, I have the endurance to last an hour, just for all the ladies to know. Shannon can vouch for that.
At least in the stream, yes.
Oh, yeah. But, especially with reproductive rights, and I'm glad that, each of these years have a different theme that we can focus on, because there's just a lot of things out there. And it's hard to even talk about all the different things with reproductive rights. I had to pick out a few. Sperm liability, custody, abortion, financial abortion, and especially rape. We didn't really talk about rape today, but that is still a very big one right there. And in our society today, men really have no rights when compared to women. And yet they're the ones who are hated the most. in some ways, we are what the feminists claim they are. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of like a historical irony. So let me take quick things from the chat. Black Knight Full, good to see you. You have to post something on the Twitter hashtag because it pisses off the feminists to know that you're picking up traction.
Yes.
Oh, we've got 12 viewers now. I'm not used to this kind of attention. Mercy me.
Hang on. I gotta do the feminist jazz hands because clapping will trigger everybody.
Can you do the feminist jumping jacks?
I can't even stand, Mad Cat.
Can you just wave your hands in the air like you just don't care?
You know what? Here you go. There you go.
Yes, that's what I was wanting. I was trying to be a gentleman.
Oh,
A perverted
whatever.
gentleman. So, and then Tricidio, I just never was a big fan of celebratory traditions. I love unbirthdays and sudden celebrations, to each their own. Black Knight Full, women have a special day for each issue, like equal payday. In fact, the UN has designated today as Women's Entrepreneurial Day, on the same day as National Toilet Day. Did you hear about that, by the way, Shannon?
Yeah, I saw Randomer Cam's video about it being National Toilet Day and how the bidets are feeling oppressed.
Hey, positive improvement. Good to see you, man. All right, so we're going to go ahead and end this today. I thank everyone for coming out. This is probably one of the biggest shows I have ever done. I spent up all night last night doing this. In fact, I didn't go to sleep last night, so I'm a little bit nutty right now.
Go to bed, Mad Cat.
Well, you know, this woman was like riding me all night long, so.
What's her name?
Wouldn't you like to know? But yeah, thank you everyone for coming out. Definitely check out Shannon's shirts. Go ahead and check out my Patreon, my book, and
my
definitely
channel.
Go ahead.
And my channel.
I'm getting to that, woman. Just shift.
This is yours. This is for you.
Okay, I will bend over and just
you.
shove it right in. So you need to lube up first. I like it a little rough. But anyways, yes, definitely check out Liberal Lunacy's channel. She is a delight. She has great interviews, especially with Mercedes. We need to get more of those. So just keep pestering Mercedes. Like, when you're going to do another one with Liberal Lunacy?
Well, I can say we were talking about that and the fact we don't want to make it, 6 months in between again. So what she was saying was maybe we should make it a monthly thing. So hopefully it becomes a monthly installment on my channel to have Mercedes come on, and we'll do boobs and brains, and we'll piss off feminists, and we'll break the internet.
Okay, so, new plan, people in chat. Bug both of them to let me be a part at least one episode, okay? Maybe the next one, just like, hey, when's Mad Cat going to be on your channel, Luber? Shannon?
Luber Lunacy.
Luber Lindsay. Time to get the lube. So anyways.
You said no lube, damn it.
Shannon, I invite you to stay on a couple of minutes after the show is done. I thank everyone out there. And this is Mad Cat signing off.
Bye, guys.